Hello all of you. Today's topic is design of C-frames. Design of C-type machine frames. And this is going to be example of direct and bending stress. So we are going to learn C frames and C type machine frames, and in the process we are going to learn how to design components on which direct and bending stresses are acting. Okay, we'll go ahead and then we'll come to know what it is. So let me first draw the figure. Okay, so this is an example. There's a C frame like this. At this place, some kind of a load is acting in this way. So you can think of this as a C press. All of you might have seen somewhere C press. So there could be one punch coming from here, and there is a die placed here. So in the die, maybe say there is some material, and this punch is pressing that material. Now in that case, the reaction forces, they are acting on the frame. They will be in this direction, and that is the force what is shown here. So with this force, the C frame that is shown here, it is experiencing stresses. And our job in this case is not to design the entire frame as such. Our job is concentrated only to find out this cross section, and this cross section is already shown here. This cross section is having a size T and B. So this is B. What you see here is a B. In fact, once this is shown, this should not be shown, but just for getting some clear idea, this is B and the other side is T. That is the cross section, and we are asked to design this cross section under the condition that you are given the load acting here, and the eccentricity is E, which I will just show you what it is. So if you take, this is a CG. This line is coming from the neutral axis. From the neutral axis, this line is coming, maybe I will show this as neutral axis NA, which is here. So from neutral axis, the load is acting at a distance of P, and then this is the situation. Now under this condition, what do we do? How do we solve this problem? Now whenever we are going to design this section, what all we have to find out is what are the stresses developed here. And from where the stresses will come? Stresses will come because you have applied this load. If you have not applied any load, there will not be any stresses. So this load is resulting into some stresses here, which we have to find out what are the stresses. And once you know the stresses, then stress equal to load upon area will give you the size of this section somewhere in A, or some other equation which is the bending stress equation, where M upon Z is equal to Ft. So any such equations we are going to use. Now let us see how do we do it. One thing is, this is a case, as it is said here, it is a case of direct and bending stresses. So let's see how these kind of stresses are applicable here. Now as you see here, the load is acting. What do you think will happen? Suppose you try to imagine this part subjected to load, and suppose you, let's say, go on increasing this value till it fails. Although the value given is P equal to so and so, but imagine for some time that there is no limit to P, and you go on applying load till some breakage takes place. So as you increase the load, you can imagine what is going to happen here. What will happen is, this C frame which is like this, it will start opening like this, and this section which is here, this section will be stretched like this. So what kind of stresses will be acting on this section? That is what we have to see. So if you think of a case which is a case like this, you will find it is similar. So there is a beam. Now this beam is supported at 2 points, and when you apply a load like this on the beam, then what happens is, beam gets deflected like this. And under this condition, what do? We say that there are bending stresses in the beam, and accordingly we design it. Correct? What do we do in this case? Suppose the cross section of the beam here is like this. Then this is neutral axis. The cross section of the beam is like this. And then what happens? We know that the bending stress Ft, bending, is equal to Ft bending is equal to M by Z. We have written this earlier. So M is this force, reaction, let's say reaction at A and this reaction at B. So Ra into this distance, whatever it is. So Ra into L, that is the moment acting, if this is L. And then Z is for this section. Suppose I again assume it as B and T. Then as you know, it is 1/6 of TB square. And from where this has come, this is Z. Z is this, and what is Z? I am just repeating what is already known to you. Z is I upon Y, and what is I? I is 1/12 of TB cube, and do divide that by B by 2, so that gives you 1/6 of TB square. Okay, and then once you know this, Ft is equal to this, then you will find T and B, because all other things are known. Ft bending is taken as Ft design. Ft bending stress is taken as Ft design stress, which is given, and then you can find out. This is in this case. Now what we have to learn is, what is seen here is applicable here. So what has happened to this particular beam? It has bent because of this kind of load. Here also it is bending, because the load may not be exactly acting like this, but the effect of bending, this is going to bend, means this is going to bend. And once it bends, this kind of bending, see, it will bend like this. It is also bending like this. And here what we have also seen is, if this is a section, if I draw this whole thing here, where there is a section what I have shown, so this section here, this is the way it will bend, and as you know, this upper part, upper half, this is in compression, and the lower part of the beam is in tension. So all the material which is below the neutral axis, it will be in tension, and all the material above the neutral axis, it will be in compression in this case. Now just see here what will happen in this case because of this kind of a bending. You will see that on the neutral axis, this side of the neutral axis, there will be compression, and on this side of the neutral axis, there will be tension. So suppose I show here 2 points, let's say this is point 1 and this is point 2. Point 1 and point 2. Then what now we have to think is, what will happen at 2? What will happen at 1? 1 and 2. Same compared to this. So as you will realize, at 1 there will be compression. So there will be compressive stresses at point 1. There will be tensile stress at point 2. Okay. Now these stresses will be because of the bending action what we have just now thought. Just now we have thought that it will bend, and then here and here there will be compressive and tensile stresses. Now the thing is whether there will be only bending stresses or something else also is there. Whether there will be only bending stresses, like in this case there were only bending stresses. But as you see, there is a difference between this and this case. Although this is also bending, this is also bending, still there is some difference. What is the difference? The way in which the load is acting here and the way in which the load acting here. Because of that difference, there is something else also happening. And what is that? Now, for explaining that, what I will do is, I will draw two equal and opposite forces, one force here and one force here. Or at the neutral axis here, exactly at the neutral axis, I am applying two forces, equal and opposite, and the magnitude of that force is same as what is applied here. Okay, which we can do because they are equal and opposite, they will not, it will not matter. So now what you can see is, at this point, what is acting, you can say that instead of saying P into E, that is the moment acting, there is of course acting it is, but instead of saying that, what we will see is, what we will say is, there is there is a load acting here. There is a load acting here, just this load acting here upwards. I am talking about only half part. This load acting upwards, and these two forces, they are causing a moment like this. So the moment what we are talking about, that is not alone. There is a moment, and at the same time there is a force also. So for this section, there is a direct load also, and there is a bending load also. Now why direct load? Because it is going up. So you can think of this getting, for the time being you assume that there will not be any bend, no bending action. So if there is no bending action, then it will break just like any other simple rod break. So suppose I take one simple rod like this and apply a load. Now in this case, the load is acting exactly at the neutral axis of the bar, and when you pull it like this, what will happen? It will break from here if the load exceeds. And in this case, this is a very simple case. We know this is a case of a tensile failure at this point, and the load applied is a tensile load. So here also, although the load is acting here, what is happening is the tensile effect is still there. That means what has happened to this section because of this load, which was in line, that will still be there. Even if you don't apply this load here, you apply somewhere else. Say here in this case itself, suppose in this case itself, I am applying load like this. What will happen? In the same earlier case of a rod, the force which was acting on the axis, suppose I shift it here, what will happen? Will it stop this rod from experiencing a tensile load because it is shifted? No, the tensile load is still there. The tensile load is still there although it is shifted. But because this is done, there will be, in addition to tensile load, there will be a load because of bending, because of this much amount of distance. So this amount of distance which is there, E, eccentric distance, because of that eccentric distance, the load is not applied at the neutral axis, it is applied at certain distance away from neutral axis by E, that is going to create a bending, in addition to the usual tensile load. So now you can compare this example with this. This is this same, this and this is same. Okay, E here was this small, and here the E is large. So this load, instead of acting here, in which case it would have had just a simple plain tensile load if this P was here. But now this P, instead of here, it is acting here. So now it is causing a direct tensile load also and bending load also. So in other words, you can now after this explanation, let us write now at section AA. So now what will happen at section A? What kind of stresses will develop at section A? So we will write direct stress there will be direct stress. Now this direct stress we are going to write, I'll write here at A, or rather at point 1. At point 1 what will happen? What will be the direct stress? Direct stress at point 1 will be Ft, and it is direct. I'll write here direct, Ft direct, and this Ft direct will be how much? Load upon area of this section, which is B into T. Okay, and then at 2, at point 2 what will happen? It will be still the same, FT direct same. At 1 and at 2 the direct stress will remain same. It will be same. At section AA, because of direct stress, the direct stress will be this much. Now there will be something else also, that is bending stress. So at section A there is going to be bending stress also, and again we will write at A, another at 1. At 1 what kind of bending stress will be there? We have seen this, it is bending like this is going to bend this way. So this side is going to be under compression. So at 1 there will be a compressive stress. I'll write here FC, and this C is because of bending. So I'll write here bending. So F compressive bending will be there at this point 1. And how much this will be? Bending stress is shown by this equation. Bending stress is M upon Z. And what will be this M upon Z? M will be P into E, and Z will be for this section. See what is done here and what is done here, same thing we have to do. Here 1/6 of TB square. Now why T and why B square? 1/6 of T is a dimension like this along the neutral axis, and B is a dimension which is perpendicular to the neutral axis, which is going to be squared. So same thing if you apply here, then 1/6 of along the neutral axis is T and perpendicular is B, so it will be 1/6 of TB square. This is FC bending, F compressive bending at point 1. Then at point 2, I'll write here at point 2. At point 2 what will happen? Now since it is bending this way, at point 2, that means on this side of the neutral axis, this part, there will be tensile stress. So at this point it will be FT bending. See, at 1 it was FC bending, F compressive bending. Now it is F tensile bending, and that will be equal to P into E upon 1/6 of TB square. Okay, so we have found out at 1, because of direct stress, how much is the stress and of what type? It is of tensile type. At 2, how much is the stress because of direct load? It is also tensile like this. At 1 again, because of bending, how much is the stress? This. Then at 2, because of bending, this. So now you have seen this. There are 4 different stresses we have written. At 1, due to direct, due to bending. At 2, due to direct, due to bending. So now what we have to do is, we have to find out the total stress. At 1, what is total stress? At 2, what is total stress? What will be the total stress at 1? Total stress at 1 will be 1 and 1. So these 2. This is the total stress at 1. What will be the stress at 2? 2 and 2. So this and this. So these 2 stresses will be at 2. Now are you going to add these 2 stresses? These 2 stresses are you going to add? Or are you going to use square root equation for combining? The answer is not square root equation, because square root equation is used when the 2 stresses to be combined, they are of, one is of tensile type, the other is of shear type. Then you have to use square root equation. Now here the 2 stresses are there, but they are of either tensile type or compressive type. Tensile and compressive, they are of similar type, so you can add them, subtract them. So now what we can do is, we can do the addition, which I'll write here. So I'll write here total stress at 1. Total stress at 1, that means this and this. So I'll write here T total is equal to Ft direct plus F, because of bending it is C. Because of bending it is C. So now tensile and compressive, they are of opposite type. So you have to take the difference. So what I write here is, this is going to be equal to P into P upon B into T minus P into E upon 1/6 of TB square. Okay. Now one is tensile, one is compressive. You have to take a difference. And if the difference comes minus means compressive. Minus, what minus indicates? That this is large. So the total will be a stress which will be compressive. Minus sign is just for understanding what is happening. Say for example, tensile is, say, let's say 10 units and compressive is 15 units. So you are applying 10 units of tensile and 15 units of compressive. So what is the resultant? The difference is 5. So resultant is 5 units of compressive because this is large. So the value is still positive. Only negative sign tells us it is of what type. So 10 minus 15 means as such it is minus 5, but that shows this is large. So it is like this. Suppose this is, say, 25 tensile and 10 compressive. So 25 minus 10 it is 15. So it is 15 tensile. So the sign is just for indicating or to find out what kind of stress it is. So if this comes out to be negative, that means the total stress is going to be compressive. In which case you have to write here compressive. So what I'll write here is, I'll write T or C. We don't know what is correct, but it will be depending on what is higher. So when you solve this, you will come to know some value in one way. Now this is at 1. Now let's see what happens at 2. So total stress at 2. At this point, at point 2, what is the total stress? So we have to now add this and this. So here we write F T total is equal to F T direct plus, now this is T only, this is T, so it is plus. So we need not have to, of course I'll write here as it is, and here I'll write P upon Vt plus P into E upon 1/6 Vt square. Now both are tensile. See, tensile, so you can add them. There is no minus sign here. Okay. So, and this also will be definitely tensile. Here we don't know depending on magnitude. But one thing is sure, since everything else is same,